Welcome to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Marie, a courage coach, creative soul, and adventure seeker. Since through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2019, I'm on a mission to help you embrace your most confident self so you can achieve your dreams too. If you're eager for deep conversations, big questions, and meaningful connections, join me on the quest to discovering how we can create a more magical and memorable life. Hello, nerds! How are you? I'm good. Before we jump into today's topic, I want to tell you about a new program that I decided to open. It's called The Courage to Start New, and it's all about stepping into the new chapter of your life. If you've been listening to the podcast, you will know it's very much inspired by the last few months in my life, which have been life-shattering. And I want to share what I've learned with you through this program. It's the most affordable program I've ever done. It's $220 for 8 weeks together. I've told my people on Instagram about where the idea came from, what we're going to do, what this is about, and I thought it was really good, so I'm just going to insert that little clip in here in which I'm going to tell you all that you need to know, and then we're going to get back to today's topic, which is friendship breakups. All right? Let's do it.
One of the best feelings I've ever experienced, and those of you who have through hiked will know, is a feeling of pure alignment. When you're exactly where you want to be, doing exactly what you want to do, and that you've made active, thoughtful, intentional decisions that got you there. That's how I felt the whole time on the Pacific Crest Trail. A series of decisions led me there, and I swear to you, after 7 days on the trail, I was like, I am so content, I could die right now. This is the best feeling. Like, there is no internal split, there is no internal war, because all of you, the way you feel in your soul, the way you feel in your mind and your body, they are all aligned. And I think this is a feeling that people miss in real life. That's what makes people depressed, burnt out, exhausted, is this internal split. And I see it kind of like a V, and you move forward in life and it's like garbage. Garbage gets stuck between the two directions. There's the direction that you're going in and the direction that a part of you wishes you were going in, but that you keep ignoring because it seems too complicated. I'm going to give you an example. So I had lunch with a friend of mine who has a super successful business in Quebec, Canada. So French-speaking business. And she has really big ambitions. She wants to reach more people. And so she is thinking about starting her business in English. But that means starting over in a way, starting new, because all of her material is in French. And the people who know her are all French speaking. So she would be starting, she would have to grow a new audience and create new material. Now, she kind of knows deep down that that's what she's going to need to do to reach her potential. But she thinks, it's too complicated. It sounds complicated. I'm not going to be good at it. And that thought is a thought that is poisonous. Sounds complicated. I know. I've thought this many times. It's easier to try and content yourself with what you have, right? To be like, no, I have a good job. My relationship is fine. I mean, we have built a life together. It's better if I find ways to be grateful where I'm at. It's fine. Everything's fine. Notice in the way that I'm talking that I'm trying to convince myself. I did a lot of that in the last few months in my relationship. Now, I don't want to leave. I don't want to start dating again. It just sounds complicated. I'm 33 years old. It would be better to in this economy to be with this person in order to buy a house, have a kid. This is all in the mind. This is mind chatter, and your soul gives no shit about that. So you can keep making decisions based on the logistics and what seems to make sense. But if you always make decisions that make sense, that split inside of you, that internal split is just widening up, and it gets harder to move forward because you're not listening. Let's go back to the feeling of pure alignment that I talked about at the beginning. You get this feeling when you decide to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to start listening. I'm going to start listening and making decisions in accordance with what's true, what's in my core. No matter if it sounds complicated, I'm going to trust what the universe is wanting me to do. The task that the universe is giving me. This is you can think of it as your spiritual curriculum. I don't understand. It doesn't seem to make sense. Seems like I'm being called to jump into the void, and it freaks me out. And yet this is what you have to do in order to get this feeling of alignment. This is when you decide to listen and say, okay, I am all ears. I'm here. I'm going to take action. Even though it seems complicated, I trust that I will figure it out. I will take one step at a time. And I trust that if you believe in God, if you believe in the universe, whatever it is, this bigger thing, presence, that you know what's best for me. That you have a plan for me that is so much better, 1,000,000 times better than the kind of life, the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan that you're making up in your mind. We're not creative. We're like, okay, I'm going to do this. It makes sense. Boring. Your soul wants something else. Spirit, God, source, universe has a much bigger, more inspiring plan for you. And yet most people are not listening, and that's why they're miserable. That's what I believe. You're low-key happy, or like you're disconnected to your enthusiasm because you choose not to listen. That's what inspired me to create my new program, The Courage to Start New. Because since I left my partner in March, I keep meeting people who are stuck in situations that are stunting their growth, but trying to convince themselves that they're fine. And it makes me angry. Just like when I came back from the Pacific Crest Trail, I kept meeting people who were like, oh, I wish I could do something like this, but it's not for people like me. And I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I used to tell myself. It's not for people like me. And yet I did it. And so you can too. You know, if you're able-bodied, if you have a desire, if the universe has planted this seed inside your heart, it's because you are capable. So same thing is happening right now where I pursued my truth. I left my relationship. It was scary. It was awful. It was painful. I'm feeling wildly alive now. I've come out of dark period, and I keep meeting these people who are like in the same shoes I was in, trying to convince themselves, trying to focus on the positive. That's what I did for a while, focusing on the positive. You are lying to yourself. And I want us to work together for 8 weeks. I made this program like the most affordable thing I've ever created. It's $220. $220 for 8 weeks. We're going to meet every week. There's going to be teaching. There's going to be coaching. If you cannot make it there live because it's summertime, everyone's going to go on vacation. That's fine. Everything's going to be recorded. You watch the recordings. And I'm going to teach you how to figure out what you really want and how to close this internal split. And don't worry, I'm not going to force you into any life-changing decisions. You don't have to do anything, but I at least want you to get the clarity. At least want you to leave this program feeling honest with yourself, like you know what's going on inside of you and you're no longer in denial. You're no longer lying to yourself, because that's going to slowly but surely kill your soul. So join this program, 8 weeks. I'm going to teach you the process I went through to make the decision, to understand what I really wanted. And then we're going to talk about what it means to jump off that cliff and what to expect, how to navigate the void that comes after you leave a career, a job, after you leave what was not working and you don't have another platform to stand on. So you're right now standing on a stable platform and thinking about stepping off. It's scary, right? Because you don't have another platform, secure platform to stand on. So we're going to talk about how to create that security within yourself so that you can step off that platform, leave that security, that fake material security, external security, create that internal security so that you feel more confident taking the leap. Again, you don't have to take the leap in the program. I'm not going to force you into anything, but you're going to get the tools to make the decisions and to navigate through the void after making a decision. And also we're going to talk about how you reinvent yourself when you start new. Okay? So whatever it is for you, if it's your career, your job, your relationship, your friends, if you want to start a business, we're gonna work on these awkward transitions.
If this resonates with your soul, go to selfgrowthnerds.com/courage and you'll be able to sign up there. We're going to start on May 29th. So make sure that as soon as you hear this, if it makes you light up, if you think, oh my God, actually, I think I need this. I think I'm approaching a transition period, or I've been approaching this transition period for a while, but I've been resisting the change. You got to look into this because this is for you. I am creating this for those of you who know you might need to let go of what is good enough in your life in order to go after what's truly extraordinary and what's really meant for you. Not what you've been told to want, not what you're expected to do, but what you're really feeling called to do. So for just $220, we're going to meet every week for 8 weeks. There's going to be teaching, there's going to be coaching, it's going to be live, and I'm going to teach you my process to starting new. You're going to learn how to differentiate the voice of your ego versus your intuition. I know many of you have lost connection to your inner voice, so we're going to work on that. You're going to learn how to identify what you really want versus what you've been taught to crave. You're going to learn the consequences of incongruence in your life versus the impact of congruence. What does it mean to live a life of inner congruence when there's no internal split? You're going to learn how to outsmart your social conditioning and your fears so they stop leading the way. You're going to learn how to expand your nervous system capacity for the discomfort of a new path. Because as long as you subconsciously think you cannot handle the next chapter of your life, you're going to keep resisting. And you're going to learn so much more. So go to selfgrowthnerds.com/courage. And I hope to meet you in this program. It's the first time I offer something so affordable. So I hope you're going to jump aboard and do the deep work with us. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. Today, we're talking about friends and how to break up with them. This is a part of adulthood that's not talked about very much. It's not like something we learned in school or something that many people discuss. And so let's do it. The first thing I want you to reflect on, and if you need to pause the podcast to take a few minutes and think about these questions, you can. Without thinking about the people in your life, I want you to answer the question, what's important for you in a friend? What do you value most in friendship? That's the first question. And the second question is, if you could choose your friends all over again, starting with a clean slate, who would you keep and who would you not? You're going to have to be honest with yourself here. And we're not taking action yet, or ever. If you don't want to, that's okay. Just giving ourselves the gift of truth. If you could just press on a button and the friends that you're not excited about anymore just disappear without having their feelings hurt, and that's key, who would be left? Okay? Let's just imagine a world where they just forget, I don't know, that you existed. And you can just remove them from your life and make new ones without worrying about their heart. I know that's not reality, but it's just going to give you the space to be honest with yourself. So sometimes what happens with adult friendships is that we just don't really feel it anymore with someone. There's a sense of completion in the relationship. Like maybe you were close for a season of your life, and then you just kind of kept going because of habit or not wanting to disrupt the status quo. For example, like you were really close in college, or you really bonded strongly when you first met over like a certain aspect of your life. Maybe you were both new parents. Maybe you were both starting a new career. And then time goes on and you don't give yourself the permission to walk away because you don't want to hurt their feelings, and because there's this unspoken expectation in society that friends are forever. Once we're friends, it's ride or die. Once we've been super close, there's no going back unless there's like a big fight or something like this. Unless they betray you, unless you have like a quote unquote good reason. They're not a good person anymore. But other than that, it's like you're not allowed to just want to move on peacefully. When we feel stuck like this, like we're no longer aligned with someone, but we feel like we're expected to keep going, we have to be careful not to fall into the blame game. And you're either going to blame them, which might look like judging them and thinking like, oh, if only they did this or said this, and you hang out with them and then you come back and you're kind of drained, and then you talk with other friends or with your partner about them and how they should be different. So that's blaming them. Or you might blame yourself. And we think that's more enlightened. Like, oh, I shouldn't be so judgmental. Like I should reignite like my fire. I should work on this friendship. I should work on myself. I shouldn't think this way. Like, what's wrong with me? This is bullshit. The truth, or anyway, my truth is I think we should be allowed to say, you know what? This isn't for me anymore. And that's okay. You meant a lot to me for a while. I love you and I'm done, without making it mean anything. Sometimes relationships just have run their course. They were there to teach us something. They were there to support us through a certain period. And it's okay to move on. And when we're ready to move on, the first thing we're going to do is try taking the easy path, right? Trying to create distance by not reaching out as much as we used to, or not reaching out at all, or finding excuses when they reach out. And sometimes that works. And if the easy path works, then I'm all for it. Maybe the other person feels similarly, and so perfect. The relationship kind of just drift. You both drift apart. But sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes the other person just keeps reaching out and asking you to hang out. So what do you do then? This is what this episode is about. So when the person reaches out to you one more time asking to hang out, gotta get curious about what's happening in your body. For me, it's like a tight stomach. My instinct telling me not to go. So when that happens, you have to decide between being true to yourself or risk hurting someone else. Too often, we tend to choose the latter, don't we? The conversation inside our mind sounds kind of like this. There's the people pleaser part of you that's like, oh, it's just going to be a few hours. How hard can it be? Like, just make a little effort and then you'll be off the hook. And then there's the truer part of you that's like, oh, okay, like resistance mixed with resignation. Like you feel like you have to comply to this more insistent part of you that is actually your primitive brain just wanting you to be accepted by the tribe. And so you keep doing that because it's your default wiring until you decide that you've had enough of repressing your truth for a few hours here and there. Because all of these moments of self-betrayal compound, you know? If you make your kid hug their uncle against their will every time they see them, what happens? They integrate that how they make others feel is more important than how they actually feel. They learn that ignoring their inner knowing leads to praise and approval. And so their connection to themselves weakens. Because their inner whisper says to them, don't hug this uncle, and everyone you love says, do it, then you have to go against yourself. You have to betray yourself. And that's what too many of us learn to do as children. This is why as adults we struggle to identify and own what we really want. But we can take our power back. We can reconnect to our truth. It is safe now. We don't depend on the love we receive from grown-ups or on the care we receive from grown-ups in order to survive. That being said, this is going to take courage because you're going against the current. Not only the current of society, which, wants you to preserve the status quo, but also you're going against your default wiring in an intentional, conscious way. But it's going to create a lot of cognitive dissonance because you've grown up believing that you shouldn't hurt people, you shouldn't break up with friends. And yet, there you are with your inner knowing telling you to do so. This is uncomfortable. And it's going to require a lot of courage from you. So when you decide that this is what you want to follow your truth, and you've gathered the courage, you find a way to tell your friend in the most compassionate, respectful, loving way where you're at. Feel free to use the Notes app in your phone to brainstorm what you'd say. And then when you're ready, you tell them. Now, here are thoughts that can help make you feel courageous enough to do so. Number 1, I am someone who prioritizes truth over politeness and people pleasing. This is about connecting with what you value. Doing so will help you feel in alignment with a tough decision. Yes, this is sad. Yes, this breaks my heart. Yes, I don't like knowing that I will hurt someone else. And I choose to honor what's true for me. Another thought is, this discomfort is temporary. I will feel so relieved after. Being willing to experience short-term discomfort for the benefit of long-term alignment is a skill we all need to practice if we want to live in integrity. You're gonna have to be willing to feel awful in some moments, to squirm, because you're going against the grain, you're going against the status quo, but that's the price to pay for inner peace. You don't have to pay it if you don't want to. It's a matter of choosing the kind of pain you want to experience. Do you want to experience the pain of doing what you don't want to do to keep everyone around you happy? Or do you want to experience the pain in the moment that comes with, for example, here, breaking up with a friend and seeing the look on their face, or imagining the look on their face? That's why I say do it sooner rather than later, because sometimes we postpone, but while we're postponing, we're making ourselves feel this discomfort for a longer period of time. So when you know deep down, I suggest ripping the Band-Aid off as soon as you can. And lastly, another thought that's going to help you feel courageous is they're going to be fine in the end. It's okay for someone else to feel sad or disappointed. Feelings don't kill you. They are temporary experiences. The person will survive and they might even grow from the experience. Actually, the person will be liberated from a relationship with someone who's not all in. They deserve to be friends with people who are excited about spending time with them. That's what they deserve. So you're liberating them. You're giving them a gift in some way that they might not see right away, but that they will get to experience. Your absence will make space for someone who's a fuck yes about them, which is not you. So that's one thing. And the other thing is we're all grown-ups and other people's feelings are not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to be honest, to be compassionate, to be kind. But there's a difference between kindness and people-pleasing. Remaining friends with someone when you don't want to be is not kindness. It's people-pleasing. And let me tell you what. Once you follow your truth and you do the damn thing and you break up with the friend you've been trying to distance yourself from, you will most likely be freaking glad that you did. You'll feel empowered. Like you are coming back to yourself. No more lies. Whenever I make a tough decision like this, I feel like there is space that's freed up in my chest. I experience a lightness of being, an inner peace. That's quite addictive, to be honest. And so I'm on a mission to clear every aspect of my life where there's that sort of friction. One tough decision at a time. And that's not always about breaking up with a friend. Sometimes it's going to be having a tough conversation to change the relationship. But that being said, it's a road that requires a lot of courage. But to me, what's on the other side of courage is so worth it. So I'm going to end with asking you a few questions. First, do you want to take this road of pure alignment? If so, be honest with yourself. Who do you need to break up with, or what situations do you need to leave? And then listen to the whispers. How much longer are you willing to repress your truth to keep other people happy? You are the leader of your own life. You deserve to be happy. It's not your job to make other people happy. Your job is to make you happy. And yes, you will disappoint others on this journey, but disappointment is not to be avoided. It's an integral part of the human experience that we all need to go through. And in the words of Cheryl Strayed in Tiny Beautiful Things, which is one of my favorite books that I quote all the time and is now a series on Hulu that's made me cry a bunch of times in the first few episodes, she wrote, and I've repeated this to myself so often, it's like a little prayer. If there's one thing I believe more than I believe anything else, it's that you can't fake the core. The truth that lives there will eventually win out. It's a God we must obey, a force that brings us all inevitably to our knees. So will you do it now, or will you do it later? Okay, I'm sending you all the love, and I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye! If you love what you're hearing on the Self-Growth Nerds podcast and you want individual help finding a new direction for your life and developing the courage to make your dreams a reality, you have to check out how we can work together on selfgrowthnerds.com or message me on Instagram at selfgrowthnerds. My clients say they would have needed that support years ago. So if you're tired of feeling like you're wasting your life, don't wait. Get in touch now, and I cannot wait to meet you.